What's going on, everyone? Lalit here. Bitcoin and trading options. I finally got some hands-on experience with a platform known as LedgerX, where you can trade options on Bitcoin, as well as trade futures on Bitcoin, as well as do other items related to Bitcoin. In my first week, I've made a little more than $1,000, and today I want to share exactly how I did it, but more importantly, go through the platform step by step so you can understand exactly how to do it too. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, the stock market, credit, personal finance, and investing overall. So with that, let's get straight into it. So what is LedgerX? Basically, when you get onto the home screen and you're not logged in or signed up yet, basically Bitcoin options and futures have never been better. Their contract size is 0.01 BTC. And at the time of this recording, Bitcoin just passed to a new all-time high of around 62 to 63K in that region. 0.01 BTC is $630 roughly per contract size. Trade Bitcoin derivatives 24/7 on one US regulated platform. So scrolling down, you can explore your options. So you can buy and sell Bitcoin. You can basically just buy Bitcoin and sell Bitcoin. But you can also trade options as well as futures. Looking into the detail, it says generate cash now by selling calls, hedge against price risk. What I like here is that on the channel we do talk about selling calls, and over here they're talking about options as a way to generate income instead of just the other side of what's attributed with options trading in general. Scrolling down, you got build your portfolio today. So some high level information, execute income strategies, and hedge downside and upside risk, aka do more with your Bitcoin. So you have these mini contracts of 0.01 BTC. It's open for trading 24/7, as is crypto in general. You got information of their custody, and it's with Bitco and Bitco Trust, audited financials and controls, as well as federally licensed and regulated. Scrolling down, you got some news at a high level with LedgerX and potential partnerships and otherwise. And look at this, get started in 3 steps. So fill out our quick and easy application, fund your account with USD or BTC, and you're able to trade Bitcoin options and futures. If you press get started, it basically takes you to a sign up page, and I wanted to show this part because over here specifically, trading on LedgerX is currently available to the following folks. So take a second and pause, but there's information right here on the screen. Right before we get into the actual platform itself, in terms of how long it took me when I signed up, I basically signed up and they ask for your passport or driver's license or some similar identification for their KYC AML process. And overall, it took me literally just 1 day and even less than that. And I was able to start trading like immediately. So when you log into LedgerX, this is what you see. And so from left to right, you got available for trading. So USD and BTC, I don't have any available for trading, but I have positions that are current. And so we'll get to that in just a second. So order locked and get into the position locked part. If you look, there's USD of $0 that's locked up, aka I don't have any puts right now, but in terms of calls, I did sell some calls and we'll get into that detail, but basically 0.1 BTC is what's locked up at this time. And to the right of that, Bitcoin is trading right now its current price and your bid-ask spread over here, 62,800 all the way to 62,915. So moving on, you can do a few things with this site, from Bitcoin's options and futures. And so for Bitcoin, it's pretty straightforward. You can press buy BTC and you got the price over here and how much do you want to buy. So over here, your minimum order quantity is that one contract price. So your minimum orders essentially are 0.01 BTC, which comes out to $629 at the time of this recording. Now, this is a market price and you can definitely just limit it. So for example, if I wanted Bitcoin at 60K, then naturally it's going to update just like that. What I like over here is that you have the order book. And so you can kind of see like, okay, what's kind of the recent history that's been going on, kind of similar to Coinbase Pro and a lot of other kind of platforms, but essentially you're not just putting a market price type of order similar to your Coinbase, Cash App, etc. So you can buy Bitcoin, you can sell Bitcoin, and then moving on from there to get to the central part before we move on, at a high level, basically you got your Bitcoin graph over here, and then over here you got the actual options chains themselves, and if you press futures, then you get it over here as well and see the expiration, bid, ask, open interest, and any positions. Right now I don't have any future positions open, but coming back to options, pretty straightforward. Your expirations over here, April 16th, April 30th. It's not weekly, kind of how it is similar to a lot of stocks in the stock market. But if you scroll down after April 16th and April 30th, there are other strikes. But right before there, you can see these strike prices over here. So for example, at the time of this recording, let's say a couple weeks from now, if you look at the 60K strike or 65 around that in the money region, basically, let's just say I press it so we can simulate an order. So you got 13K interest. So if I press here, then basically it takes me right here for an options order entry. So they call it a mini contract, and you can see the expiration over here where my cursor is, as well as the actual strike price itself. So if I put in one contract like this, you can see the underlying premium that I would get in a market price oriented type of world is $50.75. And that's for 0.01 BTC, again, as the minimum contract size is for LedgerX. So if I wanted more premium, for example, if we look at the bid and ask over here, if it's 5075, it'll probably be filled relatively or instantly in my own experience as well that I've seen on LedgerX. But if you go over here, I mean, you can ask for a lot, and you see one contract over here, 34,020. So your premium on 0.01 BTC would literally be $340, and $340 divided by 620 is going to be roughly 50%. And when you think about it in that way, with the expiration being April 30th, a couple weeks from now, that's a pretty good return if someone actually were willing to execute on that actual arrangement. So this is for calls, and you can do the same thing on LedgerX for puts. So just to keep things simple, same date, let's say same strike, you can press it over here, it auto updates over here. And just to bring the point home, 0.01 is 1% naturally. So if you put 100 contracts, then you're trading on a full Bitcoin, and so it shows up like this in terms of a preview. So moving on from here, the menu on the left side, you got some items like settings, risk, my dashboard, balances, and history. And so basically if you go to risk, for example, and you want to do a little more deep dive into research or potential Greeks behind certain type of option plays, then you can get that clarity as well. So for example, if we go to, let's say May 28th, just arbitrarily, you can kind of see like, okay, mini contract, date, strike, and then you get implied volatility, delta, and certain information over here, and you can go through different expiration dates to kind of see what you're looking for. So moving on from here, if you come back to the menu and go to balances and history, you can actually see, well, of course, history. And so if you see, made a few trades, not too many, but on those 10 contracts that I've sold, basically the premium collected, if you do the math, it's a little more than $1,000. And in terms of fees, it's 30 cents a contract. So if you sell 10 contracts, then there's $3 in fees, etc., etc. So looking at the history, April 2nd is when I sold this contract, and I did it for a week just to kind of try it out on my first time. And what was pretty cool is that they deposit the money not through ACH where you got to wait. They actually wire it to you. And so coming back to the front screen over here, basically if you look at this, buy and receive BTC at 4 p.m. EST or sell, receive USD now. And so what happens is, in terms of a workflow, that USD now actually goes right over here. It'll be available for trading, but unlike other platforms, you can actually see that, hey, it's available for trading, but when you press withdraw, it actually gives you that capability to immediately withdraw it to your account. It says wire, but it's not instant, but I've received funds as soon as the next day, and then on the weekends it doesn't process. I got to wait till the weekday, but then I get it eventually. So coming back to balances and history, basically after the trial, kind of me figuring this out, basically LedgerX is pretty easy to use, and if you're familiar with selling calls, selling puts, options in general, it's a super easy to use platform, very straightforward. So coming to over here, around April 9th and a little shy of 3 months, I sold a call at 60K strike, and they're all 60K in this case. But if you look carefully, the premium, this is basically saying 101.20, aka 10,120 if it was a full Bitcoin. But basically because the contract size was 0.01, it's basically 1% of that. And so the premium I collected was 202.40 cents because it was 2 contracts, and there's some fees associated with it of 60 cents because it's 30 cents a contract. So doing the math, if you look at this, 10,000 roughly divided by 60K is roughly 16.666666%. And so to get basically a little above 5% a month on average within this 3-month span for selling this call, that's basically the position I was looking at. I'm super bullish on BTC, just putting that out there. And the point being that 17% above your 60K pretty much gets me to a break even of $70,000 per Bitcoin. It's not that I don't think Bitcoin can pass 70K in the next 3 months, but this play in general of selling calls against Bitcoin wasn't that I actually want to lose or kind of give away my Bitcoin, quote unquote, at a certain price because I'm super long on Bitcoin. But the reason I did this is because I'm super comfortable holding Bitcoin for the long term. And so from a covered call perspective, if I were to receive premium and let's say Bitcoin goes below 60K for whatever reason towards that expiration date, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I keep the premium and I'm okay holding the asset. Now, on the flip side, let's say that Bitcoin actually goes to the moon, to 80K or 100K in the next 3 months, just an example. Now, if it went, then I'd technically be leaving money on the table, and that's true. The caveat here is that I was never really using Bitcoin that I would not want to hold forever on LedgerX. What I mean to say is the Bitcoin on the platform is the same Bitcoin that wouldn't really be in my long-term holding type of accounts. The reason I'm doing this is really similar to what they said on their homepage of generate cash by having your Bitcoin. And so when I can sell options against the same asset, but the way I'm looking at it is I'm not really losing any Bitcoin that I would consider a long-term hold, but I'm just using this strategy basically to generate cash on cash return, essentially, the way I'm looking at it, or cash on Bitcoin, if you want to look at it that way. So if you're getting 8% or 9% or 10% on USDC or other type of crypto assets on your Geminis of the world, on your BlockFis, on your Nexo, Celsius, etc., the way I'm looking at it is, well, I like to trade options and I do it with the stock market, so I might as well integrate that knowledge, but with cryptocurrency, especially with an asset I'm really comfortable with. So with that, hopefully this was helpful. And I know there are some other competitors to LedgerX, and if you want me to review those, drop a comment down below. You know how it is. But with that, see you soon enough. Peace.